Today, I'm talking to Todd Peter, who in just a few short years has become one of the top sales agents in both Palm Beach and the nation in sales volume. What's most compelling about our interview is his mindset and his authenticity and down-to-earth style. Thanks for listening to the Jere Metcalf Podcast, where top real estate agents tell how they do it. This podcast is to share knowledge for realtors and raise awareness for Give Back Homes, where real estate professionals work together for social good. Jet Centers Aviation, Bentley Atlanta, Legends Global, thank you for your sponsorship. All right, everybody, it's the Jere Metcalf Podcast, where top real estate agents tell how they do it. Today, we have Todd Peter from Palm Beach, Florida, who has some of the most gorgeous listings in the world, including the third most expensive listing for $165 million, which we'll talk a little bit about today. But Todd, fill the blanks in for us about you, your career, how you got into real estate, and then we'll take it from there.
Sure. So basically, I kind of got into this business by default a little bit. I was in trading. I worked as a stock trader for a little while, and then the dot-com era happened, and everything went to pennies, so it became a lot harder to make money in that business. So I decided to go back to business school and get my master's in real estate. I worked for a couple of developers down here, one being the Ram development and then the Related group of Florida out of Miami, which is a big developer. Did that for a while, and then finally, that kind of came to an end when the whole development bubble hit. And kind of had my own brokerage for a little while, and then my wife said, you're crazy, why don't you join Sotheby's? You really, benefit from the brand. And that's when I finally did that. I finally got smart about 7 years ago and joined Sotheby's. So it wasn't, it's kind of an interesting path how I got there, but it's been great so far. It's the brand is unbelievable, and I've had a great mentor being here at Sotheby's, Chris Condon, who's one of the top agents really in the country every year.
Wow.
One of the top agents consistently in Palm Beach for the last 35 years. So it's really been neat to to learn from her, and we're partnering on more things now, like our big listing that you mentioned, Gemini, which is our $165 million listing down in Manalapan. So it's been exciting. Palm Beach is a great place to sell real estate. There's a lot to like about Palm Beach. It's just on the lifestyle is the main thing. We're seeing a lot more buyers come here, for tax reasons. But just overall, it's just been such a strong market because we are an island and there's only so much real estate. So it's been a strong market.
Exactly. So tell us a little bit. So when I hear you talk, you've been through the dot-com recession, you've been through the real estate recession, and you still got a successful career. I mean, you've got incredible listings, incredible recognition. Tell us a little bit about what you went through the dot-com. You were in one career. What in that career were there any indicators that you went through that made you pick real estate? I mean, what made real estate the career of choice for you?
Yeah, I
think, or you didn't know it was a career of choice, but what diverted you to that exactly? Because you could have done anything. Why real estate?
Yeah, and I'm probably going to turn this back on you because I want to hear.
Oh no, okay. Well, I've got an answer, but yeah.
I had always had an interest in real estate, and I think that going through those different challenging times and learning how to deal with adversity and kind of having to reinvent yourself. That's something that just kind of had to do by the fact of the matters of the day. But was always interested in real estate, and what I decided was I'd grown up living in Cincinnati, but we had vacationed. My parents had a place down here in Palm Beach for a number of years, and I kind of just said, all right, what can I do where I can live in Florida? I enjoy playing tennis. I played tennis in college, and grew up loving fishing, playing golf. And so, it's really kind of a lifestyle thing to live down here in Florida. And that was always my goal, is to live in a place where other people vacation. So that was something that, I'd heard. I was on a trip to Hawaii, and we stayed with one of my mom's friends, and he said, look around. I live in a vacation spot. So I kind of had that same goal. I'd always loved Florida and South Florida in particular, and just decided that I wanted to get into real estate, and a good way to do that would be to go back and get my master's in real estate, with the goal of doing development, and just kind of ended up in sales. So
That's funny because you're so much more responsible than me, because I got into the business because it was the only thing I could do. I didn't want a real job. I needed money. I needed it fast. I wasn't going to like the mainstream, the regular, grew up, got a college degree because I was supposed to, and I was supposed to get a job, and that's was supposed to get benefits. And I was like, that route's just not working out. Right. So real estate was the one avenue where I could make money fast. And you do, if you're good at it and you follow through, you do. I mean, a lot of people don't ever make money at it. But I think 80 or 90% of people who get into the business never are successful. But if you do, you are. And then you've already got, everything's already built into it. So it's just kind of the obvious, and I rode horses. But mine was much less sophisticated. Mine was like almost a process of elimination. I got to have money. It's there. It's available. A regular job's not for me. I had an education, but almost not by choice. So, but here we are. It's completely different paths, and here we are in the same career. But now that I'm in it, I've found you meet such interesting, dynamic, smart, intelligent people. You come across, it just as a business, like we were talking before this started, just about some really interesting deals that our clients are working on, and things that I would have never known about, and friendships and relationships you would have never had if it hadn't been for the business. So, on that, so you get into real estate. As you're talking, one of the questions that's occurring to me is, how do you live in a vacation spot and have the discipline that you need to have the successful career that you've got today?
It's hard. It's hard because, there's always, somebody here that's, hey, let's go do this. Let's go, fishing. Let's go play golf and do that. But, for me, it's just, I love the deal making. I love, bringing a deal from the start to finish, whether I'm representing buyers or sellers. I just think it's really, that's the part to me that's almost addictive, is that, it's not easy work. I mean, everybody, thinks that, it's easy work, and, there's not much to it, but, you really have to work hard in this business, and really when you're getting started as well. I think, most people don't realize that, I tell people it's at least a 6 to 9 month ramp up where you're actually, before you even probably do your first deal.
Exactly.
So I think it's really, I mean, there's no secret to it. I think that's, I've found success when I'm not distracted, when I focus and just work hard. I mean, and it's all relationship based, like you said. I mean, you may meet some unbelievable people in this business, and they have, incredible stories about how they became successful, and just really interesting people. And I think that's one of the most rewarding things, is that when you're able to, to find somebody that dream home, it's really rewarding on multiple levels. But to see them, satisfied, and to do a good job for them, and to have them refer, their friends and even their family members too. I think that's the greatest compliment. But yeah, I think that's it. I mean, it's just, to me, that's the deal making part is really fun. And I tell people, they're like, do you like doing this? Do you like selling real estate? And I'm like, look, I drive around Palm Beach, Florida, and show people their
exactly, yeah.
So
look at beautiful homes that most people don't get to, not a lot of people don't get to see the inside of every day. And I think we take it for granted, because I find that you see beautiful homes over and over, and you forget that you're seeing the inside of, we all go to our friends' houses, but the number of homes that we get to see and experience the inside of is pretty fun. So I keep thinking about, you've been through so many markets and recessions, and kind of just stuck with real estate through that. In that, and I may be getting you on the spot here, but what are some examples of, we all go through things, and they always say your biggest successes come from your biggest failures, or your biggest lessons come with those failures that you have. Do you have any examples you can share with us of some things that you've gone through where you were like, wow, this appears to be a failure, whether it's the loss of a listing, or whether it's a deal that didn't come through, but only for the sake of a better one or a better client, or anything like that you can share with us?
Yeah, I think look, there's, I've seen up markets and down markets, and in the down markets, or when it's tougher to put deals together, it just really makes you, appreciate the good times. I mean, it's, I've seen it in obviously the stock market, the .com thing, but I've, been through the downturn and the bubble, as they say, in real estate, and it affected everybody, right? So
Yeah.
Even Palm Beach, but I mean, to a lesser extent than some other areas, but I think you just learn to appreciate and work hard, kind of all the time, but you appreciate it when it becomes a little harder. I remember last year, that was a tougher year for us. I mean, just because of the election, I think there are a lot of people just kind of sitting on the sidelines. We had a lot of people, show interest in buying properties. I think in March of last year, I had 5 deals fall apart that were under contract, and the buyers won.
Yeah.
So that's an example of, you're like, okay, you may do everything right, and you think you have deals put together, but until they go hard, you don't know. So times like that, you kind of have to just reassess. But it's a fun business, and it's it's enjoyable. I'd like to hear kind of what your thoughts are on that.
Well, don't ask me. See, I was supposed to ask you. I love this though. Now, what I would say though is I think that in what you said, that anytime you're going through this stuff, it's in the challenges that we appreciate the pros. It's in every. My whole mindset in this business is, in every problem, there is an opportunity. And first of all, in every problem, when we come to our clients, that's an opportunity. The reason why we make the big bucks is because we bring. If it were easy, they wouldn't need us. And every problem that they've got, it gives us the opportunity to present the solution. It gives us the opportunity to first empathize, align with them, and and make sure they understood that someone's aligning with them and giving them the support that they need to make the deal happen, and then never bring a problem without a solution. Even if it's, if you're not getting like I do a report every 7 to 10 days to my clients that says, hey guys, this is what the market, here's your listing. This is what the market's doing right now. This is what's sold. This is who's looked at it. This is what's going on. If we're not getting showings, if we had an open house or we had an event and it wasn't successful, here's why, and here's what we're doing about it. And at some point, because everybody does this thing about, hey, real estate agents just list their house and they just want a price reduction. Well, price is one of the 3 most important components of that. And if we're doing all of these things and it's still not so, you need to see what's going on in the market. Or if this house sold and it's comparable to yours and it was listed for less money, or it sold for a lot less money, then yes, we do have to bring price into that. Or if these anyway, you get it. But the point is that it gives us the opportunity to communicate and align. And as far as I think I put the bad stuff out of my mind sometimes, but I would say the biggest thing, to answer my own question, is anytime something in our business, if it's getting fired from a listing or something that doesn't go well, the biggest thing that I can say, my biggest lesson in this business is, as a younger person, I was more reactive and took things personally. And now it's in how we handle our situations. It's not if you fail, it's how you respond. And in everything that comes across our table, it's how we're responding to those problems, whether it's presenting solutions or if it's out of our control, how we're responding to it, that is creating so much future opportunity. I mean, there have been times where I've unjustly lost a listing in the long run. I either got hired back or got 20 referrals off of it because of the way I handled it. And they came back and said, wow, that was a mistake. But guess what? We want to make sure everybody else we know uses you.
Yeah, and I think, you hit on a couple of really good things there. I mean, the communication, I think, is number one. I mean, that, we've kind of talked about that before. Communication not only with your clients, but and that's number one. Just to understand, like, hey, if things aren't selling, like you said, what's the reason why, and to communicate. I find that more often than not, your sellers just want to hear from you and hear what's going on in the market. I mean,
exactly.
We are, so it's our job to convey what's going on in the market.
Exactly.
And also, with the other broker you're dealing with in negotiation, I find that a lot of our job is that we're here to absorb things, whether it's representing buyer or seller. Our job is to try to see if there's a deal possible and to facilitate that deal if it is possible. And a lot of it, I think, is absorbing, kind of the tough part. Because selling a house is difficult. I mean, when I sold my own house, this is
that's the best practice and the best, like when I sell my own house, I'm like, oh my gosh, how do my clients do this? Because you really forget when you're doing it every day, but when it's your own house, it's a great experience just to remember what they're going through.
I didn't know, it was hard because you're personally involved and it's not, it's a much harder decision. Any decision I think is much harder. So I think that's where we really create value and to basically protect our sellers and buyers and to do the best for them. It really, I've seen it so many times where we actually are able to get a better price or get better terms just because you're not making a decision on your emotions are attached to. So
it's so much easier to have somebody that's a buffer that can bounce and they can always defer. Like when we're negotiating, we can defer to our buyer or seller. We never have to give a direct response, or the things that we can do because we're a third party are huge and so powerful to our clients.
Exactly.
So here's one I don't ask often, but I'm going to ask this to a fellow, and I should ask it more often because I love this question. But does the company or broker that you work for, do you think that makes a big difference in your business and in your success?
I think it's huge. I mean, working with Sotheby's has been an amazing experience just because of not only the brand, but we have such great people here. I said it before, but my mentor, Chris Condon, has been outstanding. I mean, just learning best practices, how to deal with clients, tough situations, what to say, what not to say. That's been invaluable. And I think that, if you're, a young agent or just getting into the business, finding somebody that's had experience. I mean, like yourself, if I were coming up in the Atlanta office, I'd try to learn as much as I could from you and how you market and these podcasts and social media. I mean, I think you're ahead of the curve in so many different ways that you can learn from, these brokers that have been doing it a while. I mean, they there's a reason they're successful. I mean, they work hard. They've got great systems in place. They've got great people working with them and great support. And I think that's the main thing working with Sotheby's. It's been not only the brand, it's instant recognition, instant credibility. When we're going in for a listing presentation, we have the best marketing, we have the best tools at our disposal.
Isn't it great to have that? I mean, it's just, besides all that, I find that, so when I've been in Sotheby's, how many years have you been in Sotheby's?
About 7, I think.
So I've been 7. And so when I was at another company for 7, and now I've been with Sotheby's for 7. And I remember coming into Sotheby's, it just kind of happened. Nobody told me to do things differently, or nobody told me to bring it to the next level. You just kind of do, because you become what and who you're around. And just by the sheer nature of being in becoming a part of the brand, even though I was I was a top agent in the company I came from. You came into this company, which being the top agent in Atlanta Fine Homes is a whole nother level. And I became a top agent at Atlanta Fine Homes just by the sheer nature of changing who I'm around and where I'm from. And the mindset, no one told me, no one said anything. It was just being in a new environment around different people, you become like what you're around. It's powerful. So what is your biggest, coming into this business, I think about myself, and so many of us, we think I can just, or have, you talk to people like, oh, I want to be a real estate agent because I love to look at houses. Well, it's a person, to me, it's a people business, not a looking at houses business, even though we get to do that too. Or, oh, I know so many people, so they're just going to let me list their house and put the sign in the yard. There are all these assumptions about our business, or real estate agents don't work hard, or real estate agents just are out for the commission. For you coming into this business, what was your big kind of aha as you got into this business? You have, one perception, and what was the aha of what it really was for you? Whether it's recent or when you were newer.
Yeah, I think, it's interesting. I think the big aha was that, it sounds stupid, but just that, the hard work pays off. I mean, I can't tell people that enough. I mean, they're like, oh, what's your secret? Or people think, oh, he's being handed stuff or this or that. It's like, the big thing for me was that when I started working here at Sotheby's, I would take any kind of deal that came across. If somebody had a short sale that they didn't know how to do, I said, okay, I'll raise my hand, I'll help you with that. If there was a commercial deal, I mean, that was kind of my background. Having the kind of the finance background coming from getting my master's in real estate, I understood what a cap rate was and what that meant, and
which is unusual for a residential agent.
Yeah, and it's funny because here in this office, we have very few deals that aren't cash. I mean, pretty much 95% of all of our deals are cash deals.
Wow.
Which is interesting because we're dealing at a very high price level, but most of them are not. They don't have the, if they are contingent, they waive the financing contingency. So really, it's kind of an interesting deal. And when agents said, well, I don't understand how this financing affects the deal, I would step in and help them and just do the challenging deals, do the deals that, even if it's a small deal, you're not going to make much money, or it's a rental. First coming in the business, I just really tried to do the things that I hadn't done before, so I gained experience, and I knew whatever was thrown at me, as I became more and more successful in business and got bigger listings and so on and so forth, I'd have that experience. So I think that just kind of on as much as you can, but again, it's hard work. I mean, the same agents that I see in the office, every day are the same ones that are producing. I mean, people say the 80-20 rule. I think it's the 90-10 rule.
I say it's the 95-5 rule, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, so those 10% of the agents, and in our market too, not just our office, but in our market, I'd say 10% of the agents do 90% of the business. It's just a factor of the people that treat it like a full-time job. I mean, even though you don't have a 9 to 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
People that are working every day. I mean, in season, for example, I work every single day of the week. Always have my phone on me. In our season, I mean, it's basically November through May, or it's basically to the start of May. But so for those months, I just know that that's my time to sell properties. So that's.
And what is the off season like? Do you still work a few days a week, or how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, I still work every day, but my phone's always on me. But that's kind of when more people are traveling, or they're in the Northeast or the Hamptons or wherever they go. Aspen, but that's the time when people are less focused on Palm Beach real estate. So in August, September, it's kind of our slowest time. It's also the hottest here, so we usually try to get out of town and go somewhere like Montana.
I think in Atlanta, they say the spring market is the hot market in Atlanta, but it's really hot all the time. And we have our market it's every day of the year, but it just becomes, even for you though, I think it's just more of a lifestyle. But you make me think. I love to hear you talk about, your biggest aha, because a lot of people think it's luck and connections, and sure, all of those things help. But it makes me think about two different things. There's an agent in our office named Austin Landers, and I met him. He's been in the business 3 or 4 years, and I met him. And I would just hand him like little deals. And I can remember he was so enthusiastic to take whatever you would give him and just do whatever. And I was like, that guy is going to be huge. And he's now the youngest youngest member ever of the multi-million dollar club at the Atlanta Board of Realtors. And he's a mentor in the office and all of that. Because, I mean, literally it's like you just work hard. And you get the other side where you get people who say, oh, he's just successful or she's just successful because she's got all the connections. Well, I know a lot of people with real estate licenses with lots of connections, and they're not all that successful. Right. The difference is that, it's the ones who are working hard. Just work hard, be consistent, and work smart. Not just hard, but work smart and do the right things. And on that, do the right things, have the right systems. Do you have a CRM or any systems that you use, one over? And I think you're more of a high volume as opposed to a higher price point as opposed to a lot of transactions. But what are your kind of formulas and systems and practices to keep up with that?
Yeah, I just signed up for Contactually, and I'm trying to get set up with that. And I think that's going to help my business a lot. Just getting more organized with my contacts. But I try to make it a point to go to lunch or go to breakfast with a couple people a week, and one of the things we always talk about is kind of building. I mean, there's the brand of Sotheby's, but building your own brand within Sotheby's, and I think that it's very important. I mean, especially in a small town like Palm Beach here, is that we're constantly trying to build our network and our build on the sales that you do. You want people to refer you, so obviously do a great job for your clients, but also meet new people that you could get new business from and earn that business. So I think that's the biggest thing, is just trying to always, it's a balance, because we're working on deals, negotiating deals. It's like there's the farming aspect, so there's a lot. I think my wife helps me out a lot. We work together, but I think that's what I really want to kind of, that's my goal for the next year, is become more organized and really kind of work and build my brand and expand my network. So
well, there's working in the business, working on the business, and then there's lead generation, which is kind of working in and on the business, and which where do you put what, and there are different business models. I've interviewed Joshua Smith, who's got, I'm not sure, hundreds of clients because of his team, but he's not at the he's not the luxury. He's just the streamlined business. And how do you do it on that level? And then you've got your level where you've got, one of your listings is the third most expensive listing in the world, in the country for sure. Right. And that's on a, you've got a client with an entirely different set of expectations as well on how you're going to handle that listing, as opposed to how a $500,000 or $200,000 listing might be handled. And on that, what are some of the differences that you could give us on, when you got into the business? Did you always do the higher price points, or did you just kind of ease into that, or how did that happen?
No,
did you just land a $100 million listing your first day?
Yeah, that just kind of happens.
Yeah.
First day. Yeah. No, I mean, like I said, I was doing, kind of everything that I could, every deal that I could. And so certainly not. I mean, there's, we have a saying that they're all diamonds, right? Every property is important. Obviously there's different price points and, but from every deal, the way I look at it is, you can always learn something from that deal, and you can always do a good job for a client that would refer to you to something else, whether it's a rental or it's a lower price listing. I think there's always the opportunity to learn and to, obviously make money, but
exactly,
to expand, your network and to really.
Exactly. And it makes me think about that. We've had conversations about this in the past. We were on a conference in Santa Barbara, and we talked about, a lot of training, a lot of mindset about our business, and even in sales in general is script. When this happens, say that. When this happens, say that. And you and I had a conversation about, especially the more sophisticated your seller is, and the more properties they've sold, the scripting is just going to anger them because they're going to recognize it. But it's it's more about listening to that client and empathizing. And I know that's one of your really big strengths is being able to listen to the clients and understand them. And do you have any, insight, perspective, or stories that you can share on how you really kind of didn't follow that mainstream scripting our clients, but really listening to them?
Yeah, I've never really been someone to script.
You skipped over all that. Lucky you, right?
Yeah, I just don't. I don't know. That's never been, kind of something that I've subscribed to, I guess. I just think that can, like you said, it can come off as not genuine. And I know that there's some agents that have like a cold call list, and their script of they're calling a for sale by owner or an expired listing, and they have this script that they go off of. But I think it's just much better to try to listen to your client's needs and to what they're, they'll tell you what they're looking for, their needs are. And I think that's pretty invaluable, to not only listen to your clients, but to also listen to the other brokers that you're dealing with, because a lot of times you'll pick up information if you just let people, talk and explain where their client's coming from or where they're coming from. So I think that's the biggest thing is you have to become a good listener and really, just find out as much as you can about what's going on and ask questions. I think that's really important.
Well, ask the right questions, seek to understand before you seek to be understood. I've been on a lot of panels, and a lot of times you get like, here's what you say, here's how you convince them that you're the best agent.
Right.
And it's like, well, maybe the best way to convince them you're the best agent is to listen to what they need first.
Yeah.
Wait, maybe let's just be quiet and ask the right questions and then
Right.
listen to those answers. And in those answers, let's find out what is it they're looking for and what is it that they need. And sometimes we may not have what they need and we may not be the right agent for them. And wow, what a lot of trouble we saved
Right.
to not
Right.
take on the wrong client, because that can
Yeah.
do a lot more damage to our business.
My wife would be laughing right now. It's for me to be talking about listening. So.
Oh, that's funny. We'll have to bring her on an interview and let her tell us how it really is, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Love it. So, what is one thing you wish you knew coming into this business that you know now that you've learned being in the business of being a real estate agent?
Yeah, I think that really the time commitment that it is, and you think going into this business, I think my misconception was that it was going to be that hey, I make my own hours, I do I kind of come and go as I please, but for me, the real drive is to do a good job for my clients and to get the deal done.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'll work at odd hours, I'll work long hours, whatever
Mm-hmm.
it takes to get it done, and especially in our season when you kind of have to. You've got a lot going on. It's hard to balance things.
Mm-hmm.
We just had our second our second baby about 3 weeks ago.
Oh,
so
congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. So everything. Everybody deals with balancing life and work and all that. But I think that's the biggest thing that I've learned is that it's just you just have to figure out how to get your work done in the time that you have and be most effective. And,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that that's the thing that I've learned is that there's no day that's the same as another. That's what I think is fun about it, but also it's a challenge because you have to adjust to.
This business attracts of somebody who's attracted to excitement and new things, but at the same time, you've got to have the discipline to time block and do the things you need to do every day, and not let those things slip through the cracks, like updating our sellers, keeping on top of the market. You can get so honed in on one or two deals that you've got to stay on the market and know all your deals and all your clients and streamline and work on your business. And I think for me, I talk to a lot of people working just on their business and a lot of people in their business, but it's like balancing the work on your business and in your business to keep the business now. Keep happy clients now, but work on your business to keep happy clients in the long run.
Yep.
I'm gonna start even getting some more out of you. I've got some questions. These are kind of what I call my quick answer questions, but you don't have to give us quick answers to these. If you were starting all over, and this is to really tap into what you find most valuable for your success in the business. If you were starting all over, no connections except your own personal talents and skills, no connections, you don't know anybody, nothing except $500 and yourself.
Right.
What would you do to ensure that you're a successful real estate agent? How would you start over?
I guess I would take as many people to the least expensive restaurant as possible.
So relationship development is what that says right there. It's all about that. Starbucks is a good one. That's kind of a, or maybe a local coffee shop that has good coffee that's better than Starbucks. So you can establish a relationship with the coffee shop owner as well. So,
well, that would be number one. I would just say that, if I didn't know anybody, I would get to know people. I would call up the attorneys in the area, the financial advisors, anybody that the contractors, anybody in the business that could teach me about the market, could lead me to meet more people, expand that your own brand, to build that brand within a brand. Take people to go get coffee, whatever it is. I find that I take clients out to the golf course, whatever the atmosphere, just something to change it up and to get to know them better.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's useful in any business, but to really work on your network, I would say would be my number one.
Yeah.
To build. Yeah.
What is your favorite tool, or the tool that you think, the real estate tool specifically developed for real estate, whether it's a CRM, whether it's an app, whether it's CRMs and apps are all that I can think of right now. But gosh, maybe that's why I'm asking you. What's your favorite rule? Or one of mine is these little electric. I don't know what you call it, measuring. It's the laser measure. I don't know. There are laser where it's a laser and you put it on the floor and somebody says, "What are the ceiling heights in here?" And you put it on the floor and it gives you the ceiling height. It's
Right.
10 feet 2 inches or whatever. That's a favorite real estate tool. That's not an app or a CRM. But what would yours be?
I would say the iPad. I've been using my iPad more and more, and I just got the brand new big screen iPad, the iPad Pro. So I think that's going to be
And what do you use that for in real estate? For contracts, for listing presentations?
Yeah, well, I mean, hopefully I'm going to use it for everything. I want it to be kind of my mobile platform where I can do contracts. I mean, all of our contracts now, we do online. So we use DocuSign for our sellers our buyers to sign contracts. And I think that's been very helpful. I would say that's been a game changer.
Huge, yeah.
For me. Because we used to have to either fax the contracts or scan them and email them, and then your clients are going, okay, how do I
you can't read it, or where do I sign?
Yeah, they miss areas. So in that, I think that's been very useful. But I would say the iPad it's going to be, that's my goal with this new iPad, is to become more and more mobile and to be able to do everything between contracts, writing contracts, sending contracts, receiving them. Doing listing presentations. I find that to be very helpful, using the iPad and just going through Sotheby's gives us great tools to work with.
That are built for the iPad, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, built for the iPad. So we have, we can go through a whole presentation and show why Sotheby's is the best company to work with and blah, blah, blah. But I find that to be very effective. People are becoming more and more visual. They're looking at property. I think it's like over 93% of people, start looking online and educating themselves about the market before they even contact a real estate agent. So they're, looking on Zillow, Realtor.com, all these different sites. So, you have to be educated and you have to know your market because your clients can get educated pretty quickly and they know what sales have happened. So, but I think that, to answer your question again, I think it's going to be, and it's becoming, the iPad, just to use that as a tool and to be able to use, things like DocuSign, et cetera, because everybody's more mobile. They're looking at their phones or iPads and, they can sign contracts, they can view properties. So not only are we becoming more mobile, but our clients are too. So
exactly, which makes our business move faster and faster. It's more fun, but it's also, that's why it's funny. That's exactly, that never turns off. But more competition, more deals, and more fun. So that's what we're in this for, right?
Exactly.
What's a book that's most affected your business, and what's been the most impactful book you've probably read, or that you would recommend?
That's a tough one. I would say a book that had a big effect on me. Well, I guess there's a couple. I think The Tipping Point. Was I don't know if you've read that one.
Oh, I have. Oh, yeah, it's good. I'd love to know why that, but so you're going to name two. What's the other one?
I'm a big fan of Tim Ferriss, and so 4-Hour Workweek
What is the Titans book? What's the other one that you read? I haven't written that. I need to read that. I've been told by several people to read that one, the second one.
Yeah, I just got that actually as a present, so I'm going to be reading that. But I think that, I mean, just books that, just kind of make you think and go, okay, it's just a way of looking at things differently. I just, I'm a big fan of Tim Ferriss and how he dissects things and, everything, everything can be tested. And I think in this business that, we have to constantly look at our business and say, okay, how can I do things better? How can I do things more efficiently?
Think outside the box.
Yeah, Neil Bassi, one of our fellow Sotheby's agents, said at our conference, he said, "All right, focus on the money-making moments, and these other moments in your business that are basically just distractions from that." So that really resonated with me.
Yeah.
One of the things I want to challenge myself to do is to is to focus on those things that help me, do more business and sell more properties, because, a lot of these things, you have to look at you have to look at what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, what you like to do, what you don't like to do. And I'm going to try to get more help in the areas.
Leverage those things you don't like to do.
Yeah.
And focus on those. What are your money-making moments?
Meeting with clients, meeting new clients, negotiating deals. What I look at is I think where I'm weakest is probably the farming aspect. Sending out postcards and doing that kind of thing. I'm more.
That's because it takes a lot of organization and.
Yeah.
So hopefully your wife's listening to this and she's gonna get you on that or get on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love more help with that. But yeah, I think any of those times where you're actually in the negotiation, doing deals, showing properties, those to me are what I should be focusing on. So I'd be interested to hear, because I think you're kind of good at everything. I don't know what your weakness is.
What are my weaknesses? Oh, that what you said, the postcard thing. Yeah, work. So it's funny because Neil Bassey, who just mentioned, he actually talks about how he sends a postcard out for every sale, but it gets to the point of obnoxious. So I think he's trying to restructure that. But I think I did that and had the same problem, but I think I may start doing that again. But as far as, do you want me to say a book, or do you want me to say, which question do you have for me? Because I think my question started with the book.
Yeah. Sorry, we got off on a tangent there, but yeah. Yeah, so what book?
My book is totally out there. So my book is Code of an Extraordinary Mind.
Okay.
And it's by Vishen Lakhiani. And the reason why, this book is written on 4 stages of its levels of consciousness, which is very relevant to business. Because it talks about level 1 is, the general population. We're born, we're supposed to get married, and we're supposed to get a job, and we're supposed to make sure it has benefits, and make sure we're going to be okay, and make sure we're safe, and we're going to go on vacation in the summer and do what we're supposed to do, and we're going to be done. That's life, right? And then you get level 2 conscious, which I haven't read the book. This makes me want to reread it. But you get level 2 where it's like, okay, so you can actually instead of accommodating to the world, you can do things to have the world accommodate to you. Kind of the Steve Jobs mentality. It's not just about the job that you get accepted to, but it's what are your talents and utilizing the world to do it differently. And then the level 3, and this is me because I didn't know I was going to get this question today. But level 3 would be, I'm going to reread the book now, but level 3 is more like, okay, I'm a part of this world. I'm a part of the big picture, and what can I do? Everything I do affects everybody else, and what am I doing to impact the world in a bigger way, which impacts your life in a bigger way. And then level 4 is above and beyond me. Level 4 is like Buddha, or Jesus, or I can't think of other, the big names, or like, Eckhart Tolle, for example, his book. Have you read his book, The Power of Now? See, I'm like way off of real estate now, but it all comes back because this business and being in sales and being in real estate and relating to other people is all about being grounded and all about being able to stay in that. Like we said earlier, you've got to be able to absorb the stress of what you're going through. Or Shin Schultz, who is in Malibu, who you also know well, talks about when we're representing people, he's obsessed with anthropology, but he talks about how the reason why is because it's the study of human behavior over time, and how we used to be hungry and react to things a certain way. And then we have things like we have to wait in a restaurant for our food and we get really upset. But it's because of the wiring of our brains. But anyway, I'm getting way off. Well, it's not off track because it's relevant to how we react to sales and how that wiring and reaction to things that happen to us can actually affect the results and be counteractive. And that's where real estate agents come in. Because if we can understand that and ground people to that, we can make decisions and deals that would have never been made before, and they get to be more intricate and bigger and better. And not that they're all fun and they're all good, but the more that we can do and the more we can learn, the more fun this is. So it's been a lot of fun. Before we close this out, tell me, I feel like there's so many things we could have gone in. We didn't even tap into your listing presentation at all. So we may have to get, or before we go, what is a quick little tidbit you can give us on that listing presentation for whether it's your $20 million horse farm that you've got right now, or the $165 million piece of property you've got in Palm Beach? What's the listing presentation like with Todd Peter? Or do we save that for another interview?
Yeah, that might be part two. But I think a lot of it is just, for me, it's a lot of it is talking about the brand, what we can offer, how we differentiate ourselves from our competition. I think that's it more than anything else, and just trying to obviously know the property before you go there and know the details of the property, and again, it goes back to asking them questions. What are their goals? What I always do before I start a listing presentation, I have them give me a tour of the home. And I think that's really important because you learn not only about the home, but about how they lived in it and what's important to them. And I always pick up on things. If I do win the listing, I do pick up on things about the house, about the property that are always, I find interesting and something to talk about when I'm showing a property. You can talk about, okay, it's got, 15,000 square feet. It's got the pool is 30 feet long or this or that. But I think that really it's finding out details that really make it more of a home and not just the specifics about the property, but interesting things about the property that will, resonate with buyers.
I love
as
that.
You take it through. So, all
right. Well, if you've got the time, we're going to bring you back and we're going to go full blown into your listing presentation if you're willing to share on how you do it.
Yeah.
Great.
We talk Buddha and Jesus. Well, I'm excited.
Buddha and Jesus, and now the listing presentation.
What are we going to talk about next? This would be great.
Exactly. All right. Well, before we go, do give us your website and the best way to reach you, especially for people that are looking to sell or know somebody that needs to sell a property or buy a property in Palm Beach.
Sure. So website. So I work with my wife. So our website is francesandtodd.com. That's Frances with an E, FrancesAndTodd.com. You can also, if you want to see the Gemini property, which is the $165 million property, that is GeminiPalmBeach.com. I also have a equestrian property, not to plug all my listings, but one more.
Just a couple of them, yeah.
That's JupiterEquestrianEstate.com. So that's a equestrian property up in Jupiter, listed for $19.9 million. So.
Wow, great. Well, Todd, thanks so much for being with us today. It's been awesome talking to you.
Great speaking with you. We'll do it again. Thanks so much.
Thanks.